Hi, in this video we're gonna do a small application which purpose is to show a ticker. So I started trading on with Bitcoin, and so I wanted to have a small little application that would show me at the corner of the screen the current bid, ask, and last price for a given exchange. So the exchange I'm using because I'm situated in Hong Kong is called INX. Well, that's free advertisement, but it's exchange that has an API exactly the same as the now defunct MTGOX API, which basically lets you query the ticker through a REST service. So we look for INX BitCoin API. You see that there's a documentation here, and the documentation is actually generated through this this API area. I guess is the way you say it, which a pretty nice self-documenting API website, which is API, right? For REST services. So you basically create your documentation with markdown syntax, and then it creates some kind of skeleton, and then you populate the skeleton. So it's a REST API, so it will not let us get notification when new data is available. So for example, if the ticker was moving very fast, if it was a very popular symbol, we would not be able to get all the changes, because basically we are restricted to polling. So we have to do a get request, HTTP get request, and then we get a JSON reply that has all kind of information, among which we would have the last trading price, the best bid, and the best ask. So that would be this ticker market data query. You have other things you can do with the API. You can manipulate your wallet, but I would not do this here. So let's see the ticker API. So the ticker API is here, right? Ticker API. If you do this get on this URI, then you will get this as a reply, right? It's very simple. So we just need to be able to do a get, HTTP get, and then pass the JSON response. The root of the website is documented up there, so it's actually here. And so this is the base URI URL. You use this, and then you do add this slash blah 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 blah. And then the other thing that you need to know is the where's the ticker guy? Ticker is the currency pair. So currency pair is right here. If you want Bitcoin to USD, this is the one, and so on and so forth. So I want Bitcoin to Hong Kong dollars. Okay. So what we're going to do is a simple WPF application that shows a small window with 3 numbers, which would be the last, the bid, and ask, and this will be refreshed once a minute, for example, and it will just run until closed. Okay, so without further ado, let's just do this. So let's do a new project. It's a WPF application, so let's use the name. The solution would be BTC ticker, and the application is called BTC ticker. BPF application, and OK. Alright, so we would start with the UI, and what I would like to do is is replace a grid by a stack panel, because it's actually even easier than a grid, which just want 3 fields. So 3 text block. Font family, I use Courier New because it has a fixed size. It's easier to read this way. So then we can do font weight, so it's bold, and finally font size, and then something pretty big. Okay, and that's it, right? So we have 1 here, and then we do 2, 3. Okay, and then we want orientation horizontal. Okay, let's put some value here. Okay, so far we don't see anything because there's no text associated with it, so it's extremely small. The width is 0 basically. So let's put some width here. So put some text so we have something to start with. So another thing we want to do is make it smaller. Well, this is still too big. It's a 50. 50 should be too 60. 60 sounds good. And then for the width, I don't know yet because zeros are not the real values of yours. Okay, so that's pretty much all for the UI, right? But we want to follow MVVM pattern. So, but basically, we don't want to have the code behind have this text hard-coded or populated from C#. We want to bind to actually the data, right? So we replace this with a binding, and we will bind to last field. So that would be the path of our direct context, the property. This one would be bid, and finally this one would be ask. Right. So that's then we have to establish data context. Okay, and here the data context will be coming from another project, which will be a F# project. So I need to add a new project, which will be a F# library, and I will call it PTC ticker view model VM. Okay, I remove the script and the library, don't need that, and I add this as a reference. Okay, now I can add this view model. Let's see what we have. Oh, I need to put something here that we have this one class. So let's call this the main window, like the C# the XAML counterpart, and the namespace is view model, as we said. Type will be main window, and it's for the moment that's it. Okay, what's going on here? Class N, sorry, not N class. Okay, so that's good. And we go back here. We can now see our view model. It should be somewhere. Let me compile. Maybe that's because that's the problem. View model. There you go. So we imported the namespace, and then we can do view model main window. Right, that establishes our data context. So our data context will export bid, ask, and last. Those are the properties we want: last, bid, and ask. Yeah, we want these 3 guys. So that would be member exot last with get equal last. So this guy is not needed anymore because the class is not empty. And let's do last, bid, and ask into a struct. So type code equal a record, basically. Bid decimal ask decimal and last decimal. Okay, so now we store one member. Let me table quote equal so blank quote bid equals 0m, ask equals 0m, last equals 0m. Okay, and then this will return code.last. Okay, and then bid here, then ask here, so bid and then ask. So nothing fancy. We basically have defined a record that has 3 fields. We store one instance of that record as our last quote, and we expose these properties to WPF. So that should run actually and show 000. But actually the 000 is because I hard-coded 000, so it's not a very no, it's actually coming from these two guys. Well, so if I do let's say something a bit different, bid is 900, ask is 101, and last is 100. So we should see these values there. Yeah, well, no separator, but that's pretty much it. Okay. Alright. So now we want to actually get these from the web service. Right, so we need another source for the service, the client. We put the client to the service, and this module client we use HTTP request. So in F# you have a couple of pretty good modules for that, and F# data, pretty much a standard come on. Okay, F# data maybe. Ooh. Okay, this one. So I install this guy. I only need it in the view model because it's a F# component anyways. And then close. Whatever. Yeah. Okay. So you need permission to enable the type providers, but I don't really need them, so I enable them anyways. Okay. So let's use this F# data and bring up the help page on that. So that's to do a F# data HTTP request. Alright, so it's right here. I use it pretty much all the time. So to do a query, you just need to do this. Alright, let's try this. Let get quote, and then you do HTTP request string with this guy. So this guy is really not that guy, of course. We want to point to this URL. So what you can use, actually many of the BitCoin exchanges use the same API because it's coming from MTGOX. We used to be the biggest exchange. So then we need ticker, and this is this guy. Alright, and currency pair is BTC-HKD. Okay, so this will return a string. This is JSON. And then we need to parse this guy. Actually, JSON might as well parse it. Let's parse this guy. Okay. Now, what they say is that you receive data blah blah blah. So must be data dot last dot by dot cell, right? So let's get the data field out of that, data equal JSON data. For that I need the F# data JSON extensions, and then let's say that the code will be last equal data last. What was the content? Last okay, but last, I guess. So I think the easiest way I would say would be to stop here and then print the data. So we will use system debug, diagnostic debug print. Let's print F, and then I'm going to print the data. Okay, that prints the data. And this code then returns nothing, and that's pretty much it, right? This you should make a request and get the data as a result. So I just need to call this guy now from the main window as a test. So do client dot I need to move client up, client dot, because the order is actually important in F#, and that's it. Let's try that first. Alright, so printed something, and what happened? Output is it dead? Oh, there's an error. What's the error? Oh, this is the F# core 4300. This is a very annoying error. So the happens all the time actually with the F# libraries, because they are version, and the latest version is 4.3.1, but most of the binaries are on NuGet are for 4.3.0. So there's an assembly version mismatch, and the easiest way to solve that is to do an assembly to redirect. H# 4.3.1 assembly redirect. Okay, how to use F# core when you only have this guy. So that's exactly what we want. It's a matter of adding something to the configuration. So we'll add it here. Right? I can even reformat this guy to make it nicer. So what it says is that if you need to use 4.3.0, you can use 4.3.1. Right? The tricky one is of course this public key token, blah blah blah. Right? But that's why I copy paste from a website that has that. So that should get us working. Right? So we had this number here, but what I was looking for is actually this guy here. So we have received the data. And we have low, high, average, VWAP, volume, and last. Right, last is actually a record that has currency, display short, and value. So we take the value because it's a number as my content. Let's go back here. So we need value, right? We need so let's do a code that has last equal data dot last dot value, and that's a string, so I want it as a decimal. What's the matter? Okay, so it doesn't know last because it was actually defined in the other file, so I need to move that back to client. Not back, we'll move it to client. So now as what's the matter now? Okay, so it doesn't map bit. So bit equal data dot by, I think it was by, not bid, dot value, and ask was data cell and value. Okay, so it's JSON value, so we need to do it as to convert to decimal. So this is about JSON, F# data JSON, right? As decimal. Well, that's what I had. Okay, so as decimal. Okay, that's what we needed. So this will convert the JSON value into a decimal. Therefore, this is a well-formed code. Right? So instead of printing the data, I just print the code now. Try again. Problem. Code is not defined because now I need to do open client. Okay, and then I have these guys, right? So exactly what I want. So this calling by calling get code, you get the latest code. Now we want to have this done repeatedly, right? So the best way to do that is to use this Rx extension and use a timer. So now I need to add these active extensions. Okay. I use the WPF, but I think actually it won't be required because I'm not going to use any fancy WPF here. But anyway, so I need it here. Okay, accept. Okay. So now we can use the open system active extension, and this is link in the do block. I will use the observable timer. So this guy emits an event the different ways, right? We want an event every minute. So we want something that repeats. So not repeat. Single value periodically. Yeah, that's the one we want. So time offset and time span. So we want to start now. The time offset. Okay, I guess it's missing the open system. Okay. Not now. And time span from 1 minute. Okay, so this is created every minute. So we have now observable of in64, which needs to be projected. So every time this guy comes, it would call get code. Okay, and now get code shouldn't just print the code; it should actually return the code. So I'll remove this debugging guy here, and this now becomes an observable code, which is perfect. And I want to publish this guy, right? So to publish things, best way is to use a C# event, so that other parts of the application can subscribe to it. So we'll do a subscribe, where whenever I get a code, I would publish the code. Right. So at this moment, there's nothing here. I do not have the event, but I just need to know that this is going to be disposable, and I would ignore the disposable because I want it to run until the application is closed down anyway. So no need to actually do any cleanup for this case. So let's do the event now. Right, so create an event in F# is pretty easy. You just need to do a new event and the type of the event, which is emitting codes here. Let's do that, and then define the CLI equivalent. So CLI event. This is a markup, and then have the code event which is this guy that we publish, and that's it. So now I replace that guy with quote event dot trigger that publishes my code. Okay, and on the other hand, so that would raise this event every time a new code arrives, so once per minute. And on the other end, on this guy, I will now subscribe to the observable stream created from that event. So I use code event. Okay, I need to open system reactive link, same guy. So I create another reactive stream from that event. So this as an observable, and I do a subscribe on that. And whenever I receive a code, I will set the property code to that. So self.code is Q, and I need to say self here and add this property. Okay, so remember code with get Q, set value equal. Maybe formatting is a bit bad, and I select that. So first thing is code Q that changes the value to code or value. Sorry. What's it matter here? Like this again. This problem here is what's the problem here? Okay, is possible, same thing. You just ignore the thing. And then Q here is our code, right? So code here, and code is value, and the last thing we need to do is raise the property notification so that the UI is refreshed. So nice thing, normally we would have to implement the iNotify property changed, but that's there's libraries for that. And since we're doing MVVM, we should use one of the MVVM libraries. The smallest one is MVVM Lite. So I just need that guy. Tag. Acceptor. And once we have that, we can do open Galasoft, I believe, MVVM Lite, and say that this guy inherits view model base, and that gives the very useful raise property changed. Right? So by calling this guy, it notifies WPF that it will have to reread these properties because they have changed. So that's I think that's actually it. Yeah, let's try this. Alright, so it actually worked, except for the fact that there's no space at all, right? So now it's just a matter of changing the UI. So let's change some little stuff. Let's need BTC ticker name first here. Then we need to do some width. Actually, I would change this to text box because text block has no decoration. So the text box you have a frame around it. You have a border. So now there's a problem. Okay, so the problem is that those are getters only. So you have to say that the properties is only meant to be read. So this is this. Okay, now we have some space between the fields, and the last thing we need to do is reduce the size of this guy to trim a little bit of the extra space. Okay, so now we run this. Alright, so this is actually weird because what you see here is not what you have. Nice. Alright, so you still have to do it manually then. 80. Okay, a bit less than 80. This is 70. So what about 70? 70 looks good. So that's it. There you have it. Just compile this as a release app. And now you have a standalone ticker. So where's this guy? Dework this ticker. Okay, bin, release, and this guy. Alright, so you have your ticker, and that's pretty much it. Thank you.